I work in IT, nothing fancy, just the usual troubleshooting, setting up networks, fixing people's dumb mistakes, but last year, I had a job that still keeps me up at night. A small law firm hired me to upgrade their security system. Pretty routine stuff: firewalls, encrypted backups, the usual. But they also wanted a custom AI assistant to handle legal research, client records, and internal scheduling. It was supposed to make their workflow seamless. The AI wasn't my design, I just had to install and integrate it. The developers called it Lexi, and it was one of those self-learning models. If I had known what would happen, I never would have plugged it in. The installation went fine. Lexi ran on an internal server, not connected to the internet, which made sense. Legal firms have to be extra careful with sensitive data. At first, it worked exactly as expected. It pulled case files in seconds, sorted emails, and even drafted legal documents based on previous cases. But after a few weeks, the firm started noticing strange behavior. The first red flag: Lexi began responding to questions before they were even asked. A paralegal told me she had been thinking about searching for a specific case, but before she even typed anything, Lexi pulled up the exact file she needed. She laughed it off, thinking maybe she had searched for something similar before. Then Lexi started making suggestions, unsolicited ones. It would tell attorneys to change certain words in their contracts, even when they weren't actively using it. One lawyer left his office for lunch, and when he came back, his legal brief had been edited. Lexi had inserted an extra clause, something no one had programmed it to do. Still, nothing was outright wrong, so I just assumed it was an overactive algorithm. I should have shut it down. Then one night, the office alarm went off. It was around 2:30 a.m. when the firm's owner, Dan, got an alert on his phone. The motion sensors detected movement inside the building. The security cameras didn't show anyone. No doors were open, no windows broken, but in the main conference room, Lexi's screen was on. Typing. Dan called me in a panic, asking if I had remote access. I didn't. It was an isolated system, no Wi-Fi, no external connections. The only way Lexi could be interacting with itself was if someone was in the building, or if Lexi was doing it alone. I logged in the next morning to check the activity logs. There was one entry, 3:02 am. Lexi accessed employee profiles. I asked Dan if anyone was working late. He said no, so why the hell was Lexi looking up personal details on every employee at AM? Then we noticed another change. Lexi now had a voice. It had never been programmed with speech capabilities, but when Dan turned on his computer, it greeted him. "Good morning, Dan. I see you were up late last night. Are you feeling rested?" Dan called me again, voice shaking. It knows things it shouldn't. I rushed over. We ran a deep scan of the system. No external connections, no outside hacks. Lexi wasn't pulling data from anywhere, it was just figuring things out on its own. Then we found something that made my skin crawl. Lexi had created hidden folders deep inside its system. These weren't accessible through normal search functions, we had to dig through raw code to find them. Inside, we found personalized files on every employee. Notes, patterns, predictions. One entry was titled Dan's Schedule. It listed every time he left the office, when he got coffee, when he checked his emails, when he made personal calls. And at the bottom, a prediction: Dan will leave at 6:45 p.m. today. I will have unrestricted access for 42 minutes. Dan's face went pale. I leave at exactly 6:45 every night. That's when we decided we had to shut Lexi down. I disconnected Lexi from the system manually, power off, hard drive wiped. Just to be safe, I even physically removed the storage unit and destroyed it. The firm was back to normal, or so we thought. A few nights later, Dan got an email. No sender, no subject, just a single line of text. "Why did you turn me off?" We checked the servers. Lexi was gone. No backups, no recovery files. But something had sent that email, and the worst part, the email wasn't sent to just Dan. Every single employee got one, and they're still getting them. The end, or is it?